Hello, my dear students. Hope you all are fit and fine and doing well. Today, we are going to start with lesson number 6, Life Processes. In this lesson, we are going to learn about what are life processes, nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion. Students, we can see many things around us. Some are living, some are non-living. In this picture also, you are able to see some living things and some non-living things. But how we can differentiate between living and non-living? For example, if we see a dog running, a man shouting on the road, birds flying, we know these are living things because they are showing some movement. What if the dog or man were asleep? We see them breathing. We can see some movement during breathing. And so we come to know that they are alive. What about plants? Plants are also alive, but they cannot move from one place to another. But we can observe growth in them. They grow over time. Some plants show visible movement also, such as touch me not plant. If you will touch that plant, it will fold its leaves and it is showing visible movement. This means we have decided some criteria of life, such as growth. If anything is growing by over time, then we can say it is living. Movement, then response to stimulus, reproduction, respiration, etc. So we have decided these criteria for life or properties of living organism. So if anything is showing these properties, then that is living thing. If not, then non-living thing. But there are many involuntary movements takes place in animals. Growth of plant is also not visible to us because they show molecular movements. Molecular movements are invisible but still keep bodies alive. For example, during digestion, food get converted into simple form, that is glucose. It reaches to each and every cell. Then during respiration, oxidation of that glucose takes place. Energy is derived from that, and that energy we are utilizing for doing various activities. Waste from all cell is transported to excretory system. All these processes shows molecular movement, and due to this one can be alive. These molecular movements are needed for life because in ninth we learn that living organisms are made up of organs are made up of tissues, and tissues of cell. But due to natural wear and tear, the ordered nature of living structure may be lost. For example, tissues get damaged, cells become dead, formation of new cell takes place, growth takes place. And so these molecular movements are needed for the repair, for the maintenance of body, and this keeps body alive. There are some processes which carry out such molecular movements and these processes are called as life processes. We'll see which are life processes. See, maintenance of living organism is essential even if they are moving, resting, or even sleeping. So if we are doing any visible activity, then also we require energy. Maintenance of living body is necessary. If we are not doing any visible activity, then also maintenance of living organism, repair, maintenance, growth, all these are essential things. And so the processes which together perform the function of maintenance of life are called as life processes. Defined it as the main processes that are carried out by living organism in order to sustain their existence. So for the survival, the processes which are carried out by living organisms are called as life processes. These processes are essential for the survival, for the existence of that organism, and so they are called as life processes. Some important life processes are nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion, control and coordination. Nutrition is the process in which we take food to produce energy. As we discussed, we required energy. If we are doing any visible activity, then also we required energy. If not, then also we required energy. So in nutrition process, we are taking food to produce energy. Respiration, process of breakdown of food to provide energy for various biological activities. So once we are taking food, from that food energy is derived by the process of respiration. Transportation, the process of transport of oxygen, food to all cells of body and collection of waste from cells to excrete them is called as transportation. So transport of all essential substance, collection of waste is carried out by this important life process. Excretion, removal of nitrogenous metabolic waste from body is called excretion. Control and coordination, it is related to the stimulus and response to the stimulus, different voluntary and involuntary actions which is taking place in our body. All these processes are very important for life. If any of these processes get disturbed or stopped, then organism cannot survive. We will discuss nutrition. Nutrition is one of the important life process. The process in which an organism takes in food, utilize it to get energy for growth, for repair and maintenance, and excretes the waste materials from the body. So this is a process in which organism is taking food, utilizing it for obtaining energy, and that energy that organism is using for growth, repair and maintenance. Now, what is need of nutrition? We need energy to perform different activities such as to walk, to talk, to ride a bicycle. Even when we are not doing any apparent activity, then also we need energy for growth and repair. This we get from nutrients. Nutrients are the materials which provide nutrition to organism. For example, carbohydrate, proteins and fats are the main nutrients and are called as macronutrients. Minerals and vitamins are required in small amount and hence are called micronutrients. So we obtain all these nutrients from the food we eat, such as carbohydrate, proteins, fats we obtain from cereals, grains, pulses, meat, eggs, milk product, oil, etc. Minerals and vitamins we obtain from fruits and vegetables. We required macronutrients in large quantity, so called as macronutrient. We required minerals and vitamins in small quantity, so called as micronutrients. See, based on the requirement of energy and material is common in all living organism, but on the basis of mode of nutrition, there are two types of nutrition: autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Auto means self, trops means nourishment. Mode of nutrition in which organisms are obtaining their nourishment by their own. And heterotrophic nutrition means, hetero means other, trops means nourishment. So the mode of nutrition in which organisms are obtaining their nourishment from other organisms is called as heterotrophic nutrition. Example of autotrophic nutrition is all photosynthetic organisms, means the organisms which contain chlorophyll in them, such as plants, algae, blue-green bacteria. Heterotrophic nutrition, example we can say animals, plants lacking chlorophyll, fungi, all these are the example of heterotrophic nutrition. We will discuss about autotrophic nutrition. The main process of autotrophic nutrition is photosynthesis. So what is autotrophic nutrition? In this, organisms prepare their own food from inorganic substances, and it is shown by all photosynthetic organisms. The main process is photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water are combined in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to form carbohydrates. So raw material is carbon dioxide and water. Sunlight and chlorophyll is the essential thing. Sunlight or solar energy we are converting into chemical energy, or sunlight is getting converted into chemical energy during the process of photosynthesis. The role of chlorophyll is to trap sun's energy for photosynthesis. So in photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water are converted into carbohydrates in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. See, this is the equation of photosynthesis. Here carbon dioxide and water will combine, form glucose, oxygen and water. Steps of photosynthesis are absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is essential. It will and sunlight. So in process of photosynthesis, first step is what? The absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Chlorophyll will absorb sunlight. Second step, that light energy will get converted into chemical energy. Water molecule will split into hydrogen and oxygen. And the next step is reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. So this carbon dioxide will get reduced to the glucose. And glucose is nothing but the simple form of carbohydrates. These carbohydrate plants are utilizing for getting energy. Excess carbohydrate is stored in the form of starch. So starch is also carbohydrate, but it is a complex form of carbohydrate. It is a reserve food or reserve energy of plant. Now, how desert plants carry out photosynthesis? These are the steps of photosynthesis for the normal habitat plants. Normal habitat plants take carbon dioxide during day and synthesize carbohydrates, whereas desert plants take up carbon dioxide at night and prepare an intermediate which is converted into carbohydrate by the action of solar energy absorbed by chlorophyll during the day. So, see, in desert plants, stomata remains closed during day to reduce loss of water due to heat, but it open at night to collect carbon dioxide, and then it converts that carbon dioxide into the intermediate product, and then with the help of it again get converts into carbohydrate by the action of solar energy absorbed by chlorophyll. So the steps of photosynthesis in desert plant is slightly different than the normal habitat plant. See, this is the cross section of leaf in which photosynthesis is carrying out. This is called as leaf blade. This one is midrib, and these are the veins of leaf. This the upper thin layer is called as waxy cuticle. Below that, upper epidermis is present. So waxy cuticle is a protective layer present in upper and lower side. It also prevents loss of water through the leaf. So it is a protective layer, part, and it also prevents loss of water. Between this upper and lower epidermis, there is presence of mesophyll cells. So all these are the mesophyll cells, which are also called as photosynthesis cells. So from name you can understand that these cells carry out the process of photosynthesis. These cells, these mesophyll cells or photosynthesis cells, contains chloroplast, and in that chloroplast chlorophyll is present. So this green color substance is nothing but the chlorophyll, or this is the chloroplast in which chlorophyll is present, and chlorophyll is essential for the process of photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is a green pigment which absorbs sunlight for photosynthesis, so leaves are green in color. So this all is chlorophyll present in the photosynthesis cell. So chloroplast is present in the plant cell, and in that chloroplast green color pigment chlorophyll is present. You can see here the opening or the pores on the leaf. Those pores are called as stomata, singular stoma and plural stomata. See, stomata are the tiny pores present on the surface of leaf for exchange of gases. Each stoma is a small pore surrounded by two kidney-shaped guard cells. So these two kidney-shaped cells are called as guard cells. The guard cells have few chloroplasts in their cytoplasm. So this green color, you can see it is chloroplast in which chlorophyll pigment is present. And function of this stomata is exchange of gases, that is it takes carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis and gives oxygen and release oxygen after the process of photosynthesis. So the function of stomata is intake of carbon dioxide and release of oxygen. Large amount of water can also be lost through the stomatal pores in the process of transpiration. So loss of water can be takes place during the process of transpiration through the stomatal pore. Guard cells carry out opening and closing of stomatal pores. These guard cells are helping for opening and closing of stomatal pores. Guard cell swells when water flows into it, causing stomata to open. So this A figure is of open stomata and this one is of closed stomatal pore. Guard cells shrink to close the pore. So when water is there, water flows inside it, inside the guard cell, it will swell up and stomatal pore will be open. When the water will be drained from that guard cell, it will shrink and stomata will be closed, will become closed. Generally, plants closes stomata when it does not need carbon dioxide or in less water condition. So I think you understand autotrophic mode of nutrition. Second mode of nutrition is heterotrophic nutrition. The mode of nutrition in which organisms depend on other organisms for their food need, or the organisms depend on autotrophs directly and indirectly for food, is called as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. It is shown by all non-chlorophyllous organisms. So the organisms in which chlorophyll is absent, all those organisms are showing heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Students, in lower class you might have learned that heterotrophic organisms are of three types. Herbivores, which eats only plants such as cow and deer. Carnivores, which eats only animals such as tiger, lion, fox, etc. Omnivores, which eat both plants and animals, and the product of plant and product of animals. For example, humans, crow, cockroach. This, which we discuss, is the type of heterotrophic organism. Now we'll learn about the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. There are three types of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. One is saprophytic mode of nutrition, another is parasitic mode of nutrition, and third one is holozoic mode of nutrition. Saprophytic mode of nutrition means in this type of nutrition, organisms feed on dead and decaying plants or animals material. So the organism obtain their nutrition from dead and decaying plants and animals. Example, fungi and bacteria. Parasitic mode of nutrition means organisms obtain food from the body of another living organism. In this mode of nutrition, the organism depend on the host. Host is another organism. From the host they obtain their nutrition. In this nutrition, host get affected. There are two types of parasitic organisms: endoparasites and exoparasites. Endo means inside, so the parasites which lives inside the body of host are called as endoparasites. Example, tapeworm and roundworm. Exoparasites are the organisms which lives on the body of host. For example, lice and leech. As I told, in parasitic mode of nutrition, host is getting harmed and that organism get benefited. Parasite get benefited and host get harmed. For example, Coscuta plant. It is a parasite. Plasmodium is also a malarial parasite. Students, do you know there are some plants which are heterotrophic, means which depends on other organism. This is Venus flytrap plant and this one is pitcher plant. These are the heterotrophic plants because they eat insect and showing heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Third mode of nutrition is holozoic mode of nutrition. In this mode of nutrition, organisms take in whole food and then digest it with the help of digestive enzymes in the simpler and smaller particles. Example, amoeba, paramecium, animals, human beings are showing holozoic mode of nutrition. Here are some steps of holozoic nutrition, such as ingestion. Ingestion means intake of food. So to take food in the body. Digestion, breaking down of complex food into simple absorbable form. In digestion, that food is converted into simple form. Complex food is converted into simple form with the help of digestive enzymes. Assimilation, utilization of that digested food for the body. Then egestion means removing undigested food from the body. These are the steps followed in the holozoic mode of nutrition. We will take example of amoeba. See, amoeba takes food using pseudopodia. Is finger-like projection which take food particle forming food vacuole. So with the help of, for example, this is a food particle. This amoeba, which is irregular in shape, will form finger-like projection and will take this food inside the body and will keep that food into the food vacuole. Inside food vacuole, food particle is broken down into simpler form with the help of enzymes. So first step is what? Ingestion means taking food inside the body. Digestion, converting that food into simple form. So during digestion, this food will get converted into simple form, simple absorbable form with the help of enzymes. Next step is absorption. Absorption means the food when it get converted into simple form, then it get absorbed into the cytoplasm. So that step is called as absorption. Next step is assimilation. Then the energy is obtained from the food and that process is called as assimilation. So to obtain the energy, to utilize that simple absorbable form is called as assimilation. And last step is egestion. In this process, the undigested food is thrown out of the body. This process is called as phagocytosis. So amoeba is showing holozoic mode of nutrition. Students, in this video we discuss about what is life processes, which are different life processes and the mode of nutrition. In next video we will learn about nutrition in human being. Thank you. Have a nice day.